if you look through our videos, we do not have a lot of ranking videos. He'll do like a top 25 roller coasters once a year, but I don't like ranking things. I like to put things into tiers more than anything because I don't know. After I get through my first few favorite coasters, then I really don't know what my favorite. I can't tell you what my 15th favorite coaster is, but I went through the trouble and did this for Cedar Point only. So I did it and you did it. We went through the active 15 roller coasters at Cedar Point. Now that doesn't include Pipe Scream, which they list as a roller coaster, and it doesn't include Top Thrill Dragster since it's closed down right now, and that, and doesn't include Wild Mouse because that's next year. So this is the 15 active roller coasters. I'm going to read off from my list, and he's going to read off from his list, and we're just going to react to each other's, and this is the first time that we're hearing each other's list. So I don't know what he put, and he doesn't know what I put. So we're not going to talk a ton about each roller coaster because a lot of things there's not a lot to say, but we'll say a little bit,
brief thing
like
about it,
a little
each
description
one,
or whatever. Starting off at number 15, I have Wilderness Run. Now that's just a kiddie coaster, so that's why I put it at 15 because it's just a kiddie coaster and I can't really fit on those anyway. So what do you have at 15?
Number 15, I have Corkscrew because I feel like I would rather ride a kiddie coaster than a ride that actually hurts me. So yeah, number 15 for me is Corkscrew.
Yeah, Corkscrew, I don't mind it quite as much because my head comes above the restraint. And so when there's the head banging, I don't actually hit my head. So it's not terrible for me.
I don't hate Corkscrew either. And there's no ride at Cedar Point that I hate, but Corkscrew is my least favorite.
But coming in last, wow, that's surprising to me, I must say. Number 14 for me is Woodstock Express. It's a kiddie/family coaster. I mean, it's good enough, but it is what it is. It's like the family kiddie ride, and that's why it comes in at number 14 for me.
Number 14 for me is Wilderness Run. Now, Wilderness Run, like you said, just a small kiddie coaster. Nothing to it really, but I do enjoy. I've only ridden it once, but I don't know. It's more enjoyable than Corkscrew for me because at least you're not getting hurt.
Coming in at number 13, it is by far my least favorite big coaster at the park, Rougarou. That thing, it just hurts me. You have to ride it defensive pretty much all the time. You have to like figure out how to ride it for it to not make it a miserable experience. They can tear that thing out and put a restaurant in, and I would be perfectly fine with that. What do you got at number 13?
Number 13 for me is Cedar Creek Mine Ride. It's just a mine train, nothing special. It's fun. I mean, it doesn't have to be some big coaster to not be fun. Yeah, it's jerky, but I don't know. I still like riding it from time to time.
And I'm surprised you have that at 13 because you always, like, not always, but whenever we're passing Mine Ride, you'll be like, oh, okay, let's go ride Mine Ride and stuff.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a fun, like I said, it's a fun ride. That's it.
So that's a little surprising for me. So that was your 13, so now we're on to 12 for me, and 12 for me is Mine Ride. It's not a terrible ride, but it's uncomfortable for me to fit in, and it's just jerky like most mine trains are, so number 12 for me.
And number 12 for me is Rougarou. I don't hate Rougarou. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I don't hate it. I ride it sometimes. I don't think it gives me too much headbanging. It doesn't feel too rough. I don't know. I think it's alright.
Coming in at number 11, just missing that top 10, is Corkscrew. I already talked about it a little bit ago. It's not that bad because I'm above the head or the over the shoulder restraint.
Yeah.
So that's why it's number 11 for me. It's not good, not the worst.
Yeah. And number 11 for me is Woodstock Express. Yeah, it's just a family coaster, but I find it fun. I think I don't know, it's a lot more fun than other family coasters for me. Obviously we don't ride it that often, but I don't mind it. That's why it's coming in at number 11.
Number 10 for me is Raptor. Easily my least favorite invert. We just rode it recently for the first time in quite a while.
Yeah.
In the back row, and it didn't give the headbanging that it gave in other rows. So if I do ride it in the future, it'll be in the back row, but it's still not a very enjoyable ride for me.
And at number 10, I also have Raptor, even though I think I like it a little bit more than you do. I mean, I don't like it that much, but I mean, I never had a lot of headbanging on it, but it's okay. It's I think way too intense for me. I'm fine with intense coasters, but Raptor is a bit too intense. I don't like the double helix at the end where my legs get numb. But
Yeah,
it's fine.
But that's our first one at number 10. It took to number 10 for us to have the same
Coaster in the same spot.
coaster in the same spot. Interesting. Now number 9, I hate this ride. Magnum XL-200. That comes in at number 9 for me. The only way I can ride it is if I put my hand underneath the restraint in between my thighs and the restraint and kind of hold on during the bunny hills, or my legs will just get killed. So I hate that ride. So that's why it's number 9 for me.
Mm-hmm. And at number 9 for me is Iron Dragon. This was actually my favorite coaster, like whenever I first started going to Cedar Point years and years and years
I'm
ago.
surprised it's that
Long
low
time
for
ago.
you. I mean, it's a fun little ride.
It is a fun little ride. I mean, obviously it's just a family coaster, nothing too special. But yeah, it's fun. It goes through the woods, goes over a little lake. We ride it sometimes. It's fun.
So your number 9 is my number 8. Number 8, I have Iron Dragon. What you just said about it covers it. So Iron Dragon number 8 for me.
And number 8 for me is Gemini. Gemini, the ride itself isn't that good, but the racing aspect really helps it. And I mean, the racing aspect is what the ride was built for.
We always sit on opposite sides. If
Yeah,
it's only
opposite
running
sides.
one side, we don't really
Yeah.
ride it a lot. But if it's running both sides,
Yeah, it's
which
a dueling
usually
coaster.
it is,
Yeah.
then he'll sit on one, I'll sit on the other, and we'll sit on the edges. So we'll reach out and high five each other.
Yeah,
and
how it's set up.
Sometimes pass like a $1 bill
yeah.
between us.
Yeah, and there's 2 trains right next to each other. They duel, and it's a lot of fun whenever both those trains are running and you're dueling with each other. So much fun.
Number 7, I don't have much to say because we just said it all. For me, it's Gemini. I notice a lot of these middle rides were kind of lumped in. Like the middle of the pack rides are kind of the same for both of us, it seems like. But we already said everything that we need to say about Gemini, so that's number 7 for me.
And number 7 for me is Valravn. Valravn, a lot of people hate on it. I don't know why, because I think it's a lot of fun. It doesn't give you airtime or anything. It's not super intense. It has the evil vest or something. I don't really care. I think Valravn is a lot of fun. The drop is fun. It's fast. It's fun. That's it. Fun, fun, fun.
I would have said something like, wow, that's a little low to have like one of the best dive coasters in the country, possibly the best in the country, that low on your list at a park. But I can't really talk because I'm here at number 6, and number 6 for me is Valravn, so we're just one off. What you said, it's just a fun ride.
Yeah.
I've been enjoying it more and more lately. It's nothing that you're going to be like, oh, I can't wait to ride Valravn. It's something that you get there and you ride because it's
there and it's fun. Yeah, I've ridden 3 dive coasters, and I think it is my least favorite out of those 3, but it's still fun. And at number 6, I have Magnum XL-200.
That's too high.
Now,
all right, so I have at number 5. Wait, were you done talking?
Number 6, Magnum, because Magnum is good. A lot of people love it. A lot of people hate it. If you hate it, fine, whatever. If you think it's okay, I don't think there's really many people that think it's okay. It's a very love it or hate it ride. I love it. The airtime is so much fun. It's like super intense, but not like too intense. But
all right, now that we're done
sure,
with that,
it is a little jerky, but the ride is a lot of fun. Crazy airtime, some of the best in the whole park.
all right, well that was good. I'm glad that you gave that little input. And now at number 5, we have my most underrated ride in the park, Blue Streak. Blue Streak gives great ejector airtime. Now, okay, I'm going to give you guys the magic seat on Gemini. And for payment, all we expect is for you to subscribe right now if you haven't.
Doing it.
If you are subscribed, go ahead and like, comment, do something. It helps with the algorithm. So that's your payment for us telling you the magic seat on Blue Streak.
If you want to have like the best ride on it.
Row 11. Go on row 11.
Second to back.
Second to back, because no wheel seat for you,
So
and you
smooth.
get crazy ejector.
Yeah, because wheel seats can be rough, and you get really good airtime.
All right, what's number 5 for you?
Number 5 for me is also Blue Streak.
Look at
Blue Streak, same thing. I love it. I like it more than Phoenix at Knoebels, and the reason I brought up Phoenix was because everyone talks about how amazing the airtime is on Phoenix, which Phoenix does have good airtime, and it is fun, but Blue Streak, I feel like, is even better.
All right, and that is just the second time that our rides were identical in identical spaces. Number 4, for me, we're getting into the top of the park here. We have Gatekeeper. Gatekeeper, especially this year, has just, it seems like it's been running so fast. I don't know if they did anything different to it. They put some turbochargers on the back or something like that.
I mean, they might have put a turbo.
They might have put a turbo.
They might have put a V8 on it.
Okay, they did something because that thing is hauling this year. And really, front row, back row, it doesn't really matter. We seem to get great rides no matter when we ride it. And it just, and so that's why it cracks the number 5 for me at number 4.
And at number 4 for me is also Gatekeeper. Super smooth, super fun. That's it. I keep going back to the word fun, and that's because some of these rides don't give you crazy airtime. They're not super intense, but that doesn't mean that it can't just be enjoyable and fun.
And that is, again, us having the same ride. And I have a feeling now that we're getting to the top, we might see similar opinions now. At number 3 for me, I have the original Giga. I have Millennium Force. It just, in the front row, near the front, you get great airtime going up those hills. Now in the back row, yeah, you get pulled down and you get a little bit more airtime on the drop, but I personally prefer the airtime going up near the front. So I try to sit near the front as much as possible because that's where I think I get the best rides on Millennium. But that's number 3 for me. So number 3 for you.
Number 3 for me is also Millennium Force. Yeah, it's fun.
I'm not surprised with that.
It is intense. A lot of people say it's forceless. It's not. It is actually an intense ride. It's very fast. You get a little bit of airtime. I don't really have a preference of front or back, middle, whatever. I don't really have a big preference. I think it's good in all the rows. Millennium Force, lots of fun. My number 3.
Number 2 for me was my number 1 coaster for years. My number 1 overall coaster is Maverick. I just love that ride. It'll always be special to me because it was the first time I ever rode it. I remember hitting that launch through the tunnel and just like being in shock and like loved it from the beginning since the first time I rode it, and still love it. It still holds up here. It was built, I mean, 2007. We're pushing almost 20 years here.
And it's still running great.
And it's still 15 years, but it's still running great. So number 2 for you, you have
Maverick. Also, the launch in the tunnel, the second launch on the ride.
And it's special to you. Why?
Because it was my first roller coaster.
That was his first ever roller coaster.
That
we went to
is
Cedar Point
interesting.
with one of my friends and his kids. His kids were a little older. They had season passes already, and this was his first time when he was 7 years old.
Yeah, this was, what year would that be?
2015.
2015.
Yeah, 2015, you rode Maverick because they were all riding it. His kids were about to get on Maverick, and we laid off for a minute, and then you were like, oh, I guess I'll try it. And I'm like, really? I'm like, okay. We got on, and the whole time I was like this, like doing the holding on. And like his fat little 7-year-old cheeks were flapping in the wind, and he just had this look on his face like, oh my God, what did I just do?
Yeah,
but
probably
now,
never in it.
But now you get to say that your first roller coaster was Maverick.
It's
so
definitely an interesting thing to say.
And at number 1, obviously Steel Vengeance for me. I mean, it's my it's my personal favorite overall out of all the coasters I've ridden. So Steel Vengeance still comes in number 1 for me. There's not much. If you're watching this video, more than likely you know about it. I mean, extreme airtime at every turn. Constant, like you're constantly hitting elements. Like you hit a transition and boom into an element, and that's why it's number 1 for me overall even. But
now,
definitely here at Cedar Point. Number 1 for you is...
Number 1 for me is, of course, the new Wild Mouse coming in the Old Wicked Twister plot.
Yeah,
that ride, I haven't even ridden it yet because it's not open. It hasn't even been... No, of course, it is Steel Vengeance. Haha, I tricked you. You thought I was serious.
You thought he was serious. You guys got tricked.
Yeah, you got tricked. You were like, what?
It's not even April Fool's.
Yeah, it's not even April Fool's.
And we're playing tricks on you guys.
I know. You thought I was talking about the Wild Mouse.
That's what kind of jokesters we are.
Mm-hmm. You thought I was talking about the Wild Mouse, but I'm really talking about Steel Vengeance. Steel Vengeance, crazy airtime. It's just really good.
And that's about all we could say about that. So there you go. You have our opinions about the top 15 roller coasters at Cedar Point. And they weren't as different as I was expecting.
No, they weren't really different.
Even though we're similar in a lot of ways, we have very different opinions about a lot of roller coasters and a lot of ride experiences. But that seemed to be pretty on par, except for some of the earlier ones later on the list.
So that's it. If you like this video, we're gonna do another one for Kings Island.
Yes.
You made a list. I'm still I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to figure out what my favorite coasters at Kings Island are. But once I get that list done, then we will make a top coasters at Kings Island, just like this one.
So make sure you subscribe so you can see that one when it comes out. So thank you for watching. We appreciate it, and we'll see you guys next time on Beach Cliff Studios.